Nissan, we've talked a lot about them on Up to Speed. The Skyline, the Z, the Silvia, those are some of the most iconic Japanese cars ever! There is no way that these legends could get any better, right? Wrong! Because inside Nissan is a humble little tuning company dead set on building the baddest Nissans on the planet. This is everything you need to know to get up to speed on Nismo. It's 1984. Guys on Wall Street are listening to Jump by Van Halen, doing lines of cocaine, and then seeing Beverly Hills Cop.
Meanwhile,
over in Japan, Nissan wants to consolidate its two motorsport divisions into one streamlined, slick as can be unit. There was the Opama Works division responsible for supporting private teams, and Nissan's Omori wing, which dealt with the factory teams. It didn't make no sense to split them up like that. They had to come together. Fusion! Ah! This melded combination of the two factories would be given a new name, Nissan Motorsport International Limited, or Nismo for short. The man Nissan chose to lead this new division was a dude by the name of Yasuhara Namba. Yes. Why him? Well, back in 1956, he piloted a Datsun 210 rally car on a 16,000 kilometer race around the perimeter of the scariest nation on earth. No, not Quebec. I'm talking about Australia.
Yo, where them kangaroos at?
This was Datsun's first ever motorsport event, and their cars came in first and fourth in their class, shocking everyone.
Fast forward to 1985.
And Nismo is winning pretty much right out of the gate. Their Silvia Turbo C endurance car is winning endurance events in Japan, while Nismo's rally program is tearing it up all over Asia. Just like me on my gap year. Konnichiwa, konnichiwa. Sayuki, I still think about you almost once a week. Nismo modified a Fairlady Z to be rally ready and even developed a wide-body S chassis called the 240 RS. Nissan and Nismo would continue endurance and rally competition, but the car that really put Nismo on the map was the same car that put this show on the map.
This is everything you need to know about the Nissan Skyline in less than 10 minutes.
Who is that guy?
The R32 Skyline GT-R. Nismo got their hands on the R32 and started tuning it up for the track, and let me tell you, that tuning they did, it was outstanding. Nissan's goal with the R32 was to dominate Japanese Group A racing, and dominate it did. From 1990 to 1993, the Nismo R32 won all 29 of the races it entered in Japan. They even went abroad and won massive races like the 24 hours of the Nürburgring and 24 hours of Spa. I tell you, I could go for 24 hours at the Spa right now. The Nismo R32 blew people's freaking minds, earning the greatest nickname ever, Gojira. It was a true beast from the East. To celebrate the car's dominance and to comply with homologation rules, Nismo produced a road legal version of their Group A car called the Skyline GTR Nismo Edition. I've driven one. It's awesome. In 1992, Nismo took their R91C prototype racer to the 24 hours of Daytona. They just wanted to see if they could win. They were just some hard-working boys from all over Japan with a humble little race car that happened to completely dominate the race. The R91C was so fast, it did 762 laps in 24 hours, which was a new track record. Nismo's victory was the first ever win by an all-Japanese team at Daytona. Nismo's racing exploits sent a message to the world.
You underestimate my power!
Through the 90s, Nismo continued their Skyline campaign with the R33, even taking the car to Le Mans, which is basically the biggest race in the world. To commemorate their efforts, they made another special edition Skyline, the 400R. This special R33 had its RB26 engine bored and stroked out, making 400 horsepower. The tuned up engine and aerodynamic tweaks gave the 400R a top speed of 186 miles an hour. I don't care who you are, that's fast. But Nismo wasn't all about building the most sophisticated race cars out there. They did some stuff for the little guy too. In 1997, they launched the March Cup, which let racers with small budgets race tricked out economy cars in single make races. The K11 March might not have been the fastest car out there, but if you get a bunch of them on the track, the racing is just as intense and fun to watch as Group A. 1999 meant three things: the looming threat of Y2K, the Grammy Award-winning hit Smooth by Santana featuring Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20, and the arrival of the greatest Skyline the world has ever seen, the R34. And if you don't think Nismo had plans for that car too, well, you got another thing coming. Nismo's entry for the 1999 Japanese Grand Touring Championship would turn out to be one of the most iconic Japanese race cars ever. The yellow paint topped with a giant Pennzoil logo made for a pretty sweet looking race car. Unfortunately for Nismo, their competition stepped their game up too, and the R34 wouldn't score a dub until the fourth race of the season. Luckily, their driver was so consistent that he was able to grab the driver's title 2 years in a row in that car. This Skyline was unique from other GTRs in that it was rear-wheel drive, since all-wheel drive was outlawed in the Racing League's rules. You might recognize this car from its numerous appearances in the Gran Turismo series. You can't use that car, Lars. It's freaking cheating. Nismo also released the mother of all street legal R34s, the Skyline GTR Z-Tune. It borrowed its engine from Nissan's GT500 race car, each one built by hand. True to the spirit of Nismo, it was basically a race car that you could drive on the street. Nissan didn't plan on making any money with this car. Only 20 Z-Tunes were ever built. They just wanted to commemorate 20 years of Nismo tuning. That's really sweet, you guys. With the Skyline GTR production at its end in 2003, Nismo needed a new platform to base their race car off of. Luckily, Nissan had revived the Z platform in 2002, which Nismo saw and immediately decided, that'll do. Nismo took the 350Z and modified the hell out of the bodywork, installing huge front and rear ducts that served to improve aerodynamics and brake cooling. The whole car was built on top of a bespoke tube chassis draped in carbon fiber. The twin-turbo VQ30 made an estimated 470 horsepower, enough to secure the championship in the car's debut season, as well as the next. Alongside their race car, Nismo also released the Fairlady Z S-Tune GT, a car designed with the sole purpose of having the longest name ever. The S-Tune was a 350Z outfitted with the usual Nismo flair of custom bodywork and wheels, but that wasn't all. No. It also had an upgraded cam and valves with a specially tuned ECU. It also had bigger Brembo brakes and an adjustable rear wing. This was a Nismo your dad could buy if he didn't abandon your family consistently over and over for your entire life, only coming back for long enough to give you hope and then crush your dreams again and again and again and again and again. So, Nismo kept racing the Z for a few more years, but they didn't win as much. And then went back to using the GTR when the new one debuted in 2007. The new Super GT won the championship its debut season, just like the Z car did. And then after that, they didn't win as much, just like the Z car did. I could get more specific, but honestly, it feels like I've been talking about the GTR all day.
Yeah, I noticed that.
In 2013, Nissan introduced Nismo versions of its more mainstream models, which meant cars like the Juke Nismo. This might seem strange coming from a brand focused on racing, and you're right, it's pretty friggin' weird, but apparently it worked, because next to the Nismo GTR and 370Z, there are now Nismo versions of the March Compact, Note passenger car, the Sentra, Serena minivan, and even the Leaf. I mean, these Nismo guys will literally tune anything. Nismo embodies everything right with Japanese auto culture. Their incessant search for speed elevated the brand from niche in-house tuner to worldwide praise. The Nismo name is one of the few left that can truthfully say was proven at the racetrack. And that's cool.
Cool.
So Subscribe to Donuts so you never miss an episode of Up to Speed. Hit this yellow guy right here. Get a donut shirt at shop.donut.media. Follow me at James Pumphrey on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Donut on both at Donut Media. For more Up to Speed, check out this episode of the Ford GT or check out this episode of Science Garage on horsepower versus torque. I freaking love you!